Hi everybody, welcome back. Today I'm going to review for you the Marantz PM8004 integrated amp. An integrated amp is basically a preamp and amp combined into one chassis. It does not have a tuner. If it had a tuner, they'd call it a receiver. Anyway, the Marantz here, first off, when I took it out of the box, notice it's very robust. It's a heavy piece. It comes in about 27 pounds, 26.9 actually. A lot in audio can be said for the weight of the equipment. Heavier stuff in general performs better, and in the case of an amplifier, it's going to have more current delivery because all that weight is the transformer. And the transformer gives the power supply to the unit and how much power it can actually ultimately deliver to the speakers. Now, one thing with an integrated amp is going to have a lot better power than the wattage numbers suggest when comparing it to most receivers. So a receiver that's got 100 watts per channel, this has only 70 watts per channel at 8 ohms, but this is better power. A lot of people that are just getting into audio don't understand that, but it's current. It's current carrying capability. It's ability to control the speaker. Wattage is like if we're looking at a hose, wattage is like how fast the water is going out of the hose. Current is the size of the hose. So you can have water coming out of a hose, let's say 3 feet per second. Out of a garden hose, but if you had water coming out of a fire hose that fast, it is 20 times more water. So you're ultimately doing a lot more work. So that's what's important here is current. Unfortunately, most manufacturers do not specify current. So you can go by weight, or you can go by the manufacturers that do specify current. We do not know what the current is on this. We do know it's a lot stronger than the wattage would suggest. But anyway, what makes this integrated unique is it's at a really good price point. It's right in the middle. In the U.S. right now, it's about $1,000. It's it's a step up from the entry-level pieces that you can find, the absolute cheapest stuff you can get. But it's not crazy ridiculous yet, and you get a lot of performance at this price point. One unique feature on it is the fact that it has bass and treble control, like most integrated amps will have. There's no surround processing, there's no digital inputs, nothing like that, but one that I rarely ever see is it also has a mid-range control. Which I guess is useful for compressed music out of an iPod. A lot of it's real mid-range, forward kind of stuff. That gives you the ability to dial just the mid-range up or down if you'd like, which is pretty cool. So you have bass, mid-range, and treble. You have a balance, which is just more to the left or right speaker, depending if one's closer to you in your room placement. I've never used balance ever. But that's because I sit right in the middle. Some people's houses it might have to be off to the side if there's fireplace or something, some consideration. Or I've actually heard of people that have better hearing in one ear than the other, so they'll turn it up on the other speaker so it sounds even to them. So everything's front and center. Okay, we've got your input selector here, which will take you from input to input. You've got your volume knob here, pretty straightforward. You have A and B speaker outputs. If you're using both or plan on using both pairs of speakers at the same time, you have to make sure that your speaker impedance is 8 ohms or higher. This integrated will run 4 ohm speakers, which is a harder load to drive. It puts a bit more stress on the amp. Which is good. Most receivers will not do that. But if you're running 4 ohm speakers A and B at the same time, it's really a 2 ohm load on the amp, and that's going to overheat. Anyway, so you can have A or B on. You can put B speakers in another room, and you can have one on or the other on or both on at the same time. So that's pretty handy. It has a power amp direct mode. So you can come out of a surround processor and use this as a power amp, like to power your left and right speakers. I would never do that myself because Marantz does have an amp, as well as other brands, just an amp. So I would have no need for that. I would just get the amp. But I guess if you wanted to run your hi-fi stereo system for music off of the integrated, you could, and then you could run it in surround sound too with the superior amplification. We also have a source direct button here. You push that in, it bypasses the tone controls and the balance knob. So if you just want to hear exactly what's coming out of your CD player, that's the one you want to do. And all these are available from the remote as well. It does make a difference. It is a bit cleaner, a little bit more articulate. It passes this whole tone control stage. So if you're like me and don't use them, that's a great way to go. That'll be the purest sound possible. While we're on the remote's pretty straightforward. It's got a nice attractive brushed aluminum finish. All the buttons you need. This will also control, if you get a Marantz CD player, it'll control everything on your CD player as well. Okay, on the back side, you've got gold-plated connections. You have the beefiest speaker binding post I've ever seen. I mean, seriously, these things are bricks of metal. So that's really nice. Detachable power cord, standard 15 amp IEC cord. Over here we have a phono input, which a lot of companies don't put on integrated amps or receivers. A lot of companies will want to sell you that as a separate piece. This comes built in. You just want to make sure you stick with a moving magnet cartridge. It doesn't have enough gain to really run moving coils right, but from what I've read, it actually is a pretty good phono stage for just a throw in like that. You've got CD, tuner, auxiliary inputs. You have recording in and outs. If you do any recording, I mean, it has ins and outs for 2 separate recording devices, which is more than most people I would think have. I don't have any. You've also got pre-outs, so you can go to a separate power amp to power your speakers and just use this as a preamp, or I believe you could bi-amp your speakers too. You could run to an amp for, let's say, the woofers, power the treble section with this amp, with the amp built in. You have your power amp direct in, which is if you were using this to power your left and rights for home theater. And then you have a little control in and out over here, which you probably can't see in the video, but another little RCA. It comes with a cable that you can link your CD player if you have a Marantz player or another Marantz device, so you can control it all from the one remote. One more thing, the PM8004 is actually made in Japan, just right alongside their reference components. You know, the next step up from this is over twice the price, and I think most of that is due to the ingot-like piece of aluminum that they build it out of. The chassis takes a big step up in cost to manufacture. So this is made in Japan. It's a quality piece of equipment, and honestly, at this level, I'm not usually impressed by integrated amps. I usually tend to, you know, I'm a little bit of a snob. I like to go for the higher end pieces, but this is actually really impressive. I really like its performance. It's got, you know, what I call the Japanese tuning. It's a little more analog, little touch more warmth, still great resolution, and it's got a firm grip on the bottom end of the speakers. I've been playing it on actually these RVH SX series reference. They're, well, the big black ones to the left and right. There it is back there. They're 4 ohm load. It's a big speaker, and they can throw down, you know, a lot of bass, so it can be a little difficult to control, and it powers them really well. Real nice firm grip. So check it out, and thanks for watching. We'll see you guys next time. Have a good one.